Okay, I think we're rolling now. I do have to apologize for technical reasons. It took me a while to go live, but you are live with ALS. I don't have a freaking clue. And the name when it became because people kept asking me, well, what are you going to call your podcast? And I would reply, I don't have a freaking clue. And then I thought that really applied to um, ALS because no one really has a freaking clue what ALS is and what it does. So, I, for those of you that know me, I have a big mouth. Okay, well, just put it out there. And I want to use that while I still can to bring some awareness to the cause that is near and dear to my heart, which is ALS. Um, I, in order for you to understand where I'm at right now, I'm going to give you some backstory. We're going to play a couple of simple games, and we are going to try to take you on a journey that um, will allow you to begin to ask the questions that you need to be asking. So, a little backstory. Enough of that. Um, 7111. Sorry, technical issues. Maybe I'll get better at this, maybe I won't. Anyway, let's go back to early 2013. And Michael, who you'll hear about, um, and I were changing planes in Atlanta. And as we were rushing to catch our flight at a whole nother terminal, don't ever fly through Atlanta if you can avoid it. All of a sudden, my right leg wasn't working. I couldn't move it. I couldn't pick it up. And I had baggage, and we were in a hurry. So I'm limping along, trying to catch up to Michael. So we started on an odyssey of trying to find out what happened to my right leg. And I had some, I could use my hip and part of my thigh, and so I was able to hobble around. Went to see a doctor. He sent me to a neurosurgeon who figured out that I had two discs in my neck that had shattered and were cutting into my spinal cord, and that I needed emergency surgery. He didn't think that had anything to do with my leg, but let's go ahead and do it. So I spent 4 to 6 months recovering from that, and my leg still wasn't working right. So we went back to the doctor, and then that doctor decided that he was going to send my file to Dr. Barkhouse, who I love. Um, but I was told at that time that Dr. Barkhouse only saw patients who he believed had ALS. So then you go home and you're sitting around waiting, hoping that Dr. Barkhouse doesn't call you. And you wait and you wait and you wait, and then he calls. Well, he doesn't call, but his office calls and sets up an appointment. My appointment was on December 18th of 2015, the week before Christmas. And at that time, he decided that I should do some more tests, which you don't ever want to have done unless you're really partial to needles being stuck into you and having your limbs shocked so that they jerk all over the place. It's quite the experience, let me tell you. There is no definitive test for ALS. That's one of the issues we have, and we'll talk about that later. But what they do is they test you for all the other bad diseases that are out there. And when you don't qualify for any of those, then they check your motor neurons. And I want to say it is, you need 2 upper motor neurons that are not working and 3 lower motor neurons that are not working. Motor neurons are simply the connections that send the messages to your muscles. And so you are being told that you have ALS. And when you're told that, you sit there and you stare at the doctor, because what he has said to you is you're going to die. And basically, you're going to become entombed in your own body. That all of your voluntary muscles will stop working. So, Michael and I went to the Mayo Clinic in Rochester for a second opinion. It came back as the same as the first opinion did. We didn't really expect anything different. So, it's hard to describe what is going through your mind, because you don't know anything. I was a typical American, you know. I'd heard of Lou Gehrig's disease. I vaguely knew what the ice bucket challenge was, but I didn't have a freaking clue what ALS was. Never even crossed my mind to wonder. I certainly never expected to be diagnosed with it. And so you kind of go into a little bit of a tailspin. And try and figure out what your life is going to look like. Fortunately for me, I had and I have a very strong support group of people that love me and want to care about me and want to be a part of my life. And that's kind of the journey. Eventually, my right leg stopped working. It took about 1.5 years for my right leg to stop working. Then my left leg started to stop working, and that took about 6 months. So right now, neither one of my legs works. Then my right arm and shoulder stopped working. That took about 3 months for that to happen. And now my left arm, there it is, see, it still works. My right arm, which I have to lift up, looks kind of like this. Being right-handed, that caused some interesting situations. You did not want to sit next to me while I was eating. I'll just tell you that. Food was flying everywhere. And so here I am. And I want my legacy to be an advocate for ALS, but also for the other orphan diseases. An orphan disease is a disease that is forgotten about and has very little funding because there are so few people that have it. In the state of Wisconsin, we service about 430 ALS patients, and those are the ones we know about. You know, Wyoming may only have 2 people based on their population. Chicago may have 500 people. You know, there is no rhyme or reason to this disease. And we'll talk about that as we go along. The way my disease has progressed is totally different than the way it's going to progress in somebody else. So, we're going to play a little game here, okay? All of you, I know, are sitting in a chair or a couch. Don't lie to me, you're slouching. I know you are, because I am. So what I want you to do is sit up straight in whatever chair you are, and then tell me how long it took you to do that. Can you do that for me? I think you can type it in. If not, hold on to your horses. I think I can see it when you type it in, but what do I know? I barely got online. Anybody? Oh, there we go. Laura says that it was immediately for her. Anybody else? I know sure people keep dropping off because they don't want to have fun. I know there are two more people on. Anybody? Anybody? Okay, so here we go. Frank, sit up straight in your chair. Oop. 1 second. There was somebody else. So, Frank, sit up straight in your chair. Frank, sit up straight in your chair. Oh, Amber. Amber is my lovely assistant for the evening. She is one of my aides. Amber, would you sit me up in my chair? Okay. There we go. Let's see. Oh, I didn't know that. Well, that's pretty stupid. I just got a message that says that you have to sign out in order to respond. That's just weird. But I will check that out tomorrow. So you saw that Frank can't sit up in his chair by himself. Why? Because I can't use my arms to push, and I have no core muscles. You might notice I lean to the right a little bit, sometimes a lot. That's because there are no muscles over there holding me up. Well, actually, no muscles on the left side holding me up. Imagine if you would, because honestly, I have been sick for the last 3 weeks, and I'm on a new decongestant that's making me really tired. So I'm going to cut this one short. But let's go back. 3 weeks ago, I had the stomach flu. And it hit me. I have aides that come in on a schedule, and there's usually a time gap between the aides. And it just so happened one night, one aide had left. I had about half an hour before the next aide came. And all of a sudden, and I know that this is gross, thank you, Judy. I love you. All of a sudden I'm throwing up. Problem is, one, I can't get out of my chair. 2, I don't have the strength to turn my head. So I literally was suffocating in my own vomit. And I know that's really gross and I probably shouldn't have shared it. But that's my reality, and that's what this is about. This is about reality. If you tuned in to find a feel-good story, this is not the video to watch. Um, ALS is brutal. And so I am choking. I finally am able to throw my head to the side so at least half my mouth was clear while still up chucking. And we won't go into the rest. But that's just one example of what somebody with ALS can experience. So, if you have the opportunity, I'm going to ask you to do something for me. And it's not kinky, although it could be, but that's up to you. If you and another person would simply, if you would lie down and have somebody tie your legs together, then try to move. Try to get to the kitchen. Try to stand up and get a book. And when you do that, you will experience maybe a small portion of what an ALS patient goes through. For me, the hardest part was the frustration. For those of you who know me and who might have worked with me and so on and so forth, you know, I'm usually in motion, walking here and there, 20 years of summer camps, walking back and forth from program area to program area, That's what I did. When I was in property management, I had to show apartments. I was always moving. And when I was faced with faced with the reality of not being, hi Tom, long time no talk to. I was never angry, but I was upset. I was upset at myself that my body had decided that it wasn't going to do what I wanted it to do. And so I want you to try and experience that. Because here's the deal. I don't want to lecture to you. I want you to learn. But the way, and I know, Tom, you should know this, is the way that I teach is by asking questions. So, your first question is, who knows what ALS stands for? And no, you may not Google it. Anybody? Anybody? Bueller? No. Oh, there we go. Nope, I got a nope. Anybody else have any idea what ALS stands for? All right, I'm going to be totally honest with you. I can't pronounce the first one. But the rest of it is lateral sclerosis. um, which is a mouthful. Why they name these diseases like this is a mystery to me. You know, it's also known as Lou Gehrig's disease. There we go. Thank you, Tom. Good answer. All right. The reason why I asked you that is because, oh, Tom cheated. Okay, I'm not going to get into that class, okay? Um, it is, if you don't know what it is, you can't be an advocate for it. So, and Tom said, no, he did not cheat. Okay, so I will take Tom's word for that. So, all right, we're obviously getting off. Oh, there we go, Judy. I knew, Judy, you would know it because you're cheating just a little bit. Judy, I'm going to go off on a little tangent here. Judy is a wonderful friend of mine. She and her daughter, Christine, I have known for almost as long as I've known a lot of people. Judy understands what I'm talking about because Judy's husband developed ALS. And he succumbed to the disease, I want to say, Judy, a year and a half after he was diagnosed. And we'll get to that time frame probably tomorrow or the next day. But it wasn't very long. And it was kind of how Judy and I reconnected. Judy and I worked together for many years. I have a great picture I'll be sending you, Judy, that I just found. But back to where we were. I have no idea where I was. Where was I?
You were talking about people not knowing what ALS is in the
Oh, yeah. So if you're talking to somebody about ALS and they look at you and they say, well, what is ALS? And you're like, I don't know. They're going to tune you out right away, no matter what else you say. They're going to tune you out. So that's lesson number 1. Next quiz. Told you we were going to have fun. Okay, you don't have to give me a name, but how many of you can name your state senator? Any hands raised? I wish you could do that. That would make my life much easier. Raise your hand. Okay. Second part of that question. How many of you know who your state congressperson is? Anybody? Okay. While we can raise our voices about ALS and other orphan diseases, Tom Carpenter came through again. Boy, Tom, you are really good. Maybe you should do this podcast. Unless, of course, you Googled it. But it's okay to Google it, and I will, not tonight, but I will give you a website, a really cool website. But you can raise your voice all you want, but it's your elected officials who are going to allocate funds to help me, to help other people with ALS. And there are a couple different ways that that's going to happen. I'm going to die. And I'm going to die sooner rather than later. Even if by some small miracle, thank you, Laura, if they were to find the cause of ALS tomorrow morning, I would still die. That's, again, my reality. We're going to talk about death on this podcast. We're going to watch what happens to me. And that's what was important to me. I don't have any great words of wisdom. All I have is me. And we're going to watch progression. You know, a week ago, I'll show you if I do this. Pay no attention to the nude lady in the painting, okay? So, here's my right arm. A week ago, I could pick it up and put it on the arm of my chair. Today, I have to walk my elbow up and then flop. I know you couldn't see it, sorry. I have to flop the rest of my arm up there because I can't raise my shoulder high enough to get my arm onto my chair. So, we're at roughly 32 minutes of you listening to me talk. I don't know if it's been interesting. I had no freaking clue what I was really going to talk about tonight, but if I can get 2 more people to understand and to be my voice and care and be passionate about this, then I will have succeeded. And please share this with whoever you want. Please get it out on your social media that this podcast exists. I don't think it's going to be typical because I'm not typical. At least I don't think so. I have a really cute haircut though. We'll talk about the missing tooth later. But I'm just going to say this. I have 6 people right now who are watching. That's wonderful. Most of them already know all this, but that's okay. It's good for me. Excuse me. It's good for me, and it's good for the world. And